new glasses, freshly washed hair. Who it is? Hello, my fellow chatterers and book lovers, and anyone else who's popped in because you are curious about what this is or you have got a bit lost. Welcome, everyone. I am Chatty. This is my channel, Chatty the Mad Chatter, and I am going to be chatting away madly to you about some questions that you asked me in celebration of my second Booktube birthday that was in March. And we're now in May. So a little bit delayed, but we're here. And also because I hit 404 subscribers, which I thought was a fun number, and I haven't celebrated my subscriber count since I got 100, which I was so excited about. The 100 was the goal, and then since then it's just been like a nice steady trickle. So thank you, firstly, everybody, for coming along to my channel, for watching what I do. It's always nice to see those views kind of ticking up on videos. It makes you feel like you're not alone just talking to a camera, which is always nice. And also for people that like the video, again, that's another boost. It makes you feel like you're part of something, you're sharing something fun. And thank you so much for everyone who also chats in the comments as well. That's always a great joy. You never have to say anything. I know lots of people kind of like to lurk and not kind of like break that barrier. I definitely did that quite a lot to start with. So, you know, you are appreciated whether you are watching, liking, chatting, or subscribing. So thank you so much, everyone. I do really, really appreciate it. And I'm just so happy to be here, having been on here for 2 years and be consistently putting out content. I feel like it's working. Yay! I'm managing to do this without having any kind of like terrible breakdown or any life implosion or anything like that. Anyway, I realise I've started well into the waffle without doing my gimmick. So if you are a returning visitor, you know what to do. Grab the mini teacup of your choice or grab whatever beverage you have to hand and get ready to cheers. If you are new, thank you so much for popping in. On my channel for my long videos, I do not edit. It is one continuous shot and I only have the power of pause to help me. So there can be chaos, there can be waffle. We will find out. Anyway, cheers everyone. It's one shot of tea, that's the pun. No editing, so clink, 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 clink. No dust in that teacup. Marvellous. So, I've done my thank yous. Yes, marvellous. So I feel very proud of myself for having been on here for 2 years now. I wasn't sure how it was going to be. I actually did... I've been filming for 3 years. I actually did a non-published year of just talking to the camera. I did start off by having a closed Facebook group and sharing this with my friends, but that was when I was editing. And when I edited, it took a lot longer, and I went from reading 4 books a month to reading 8 to reading 10. And then suddenly I was waffling so much. It was such an effort to edit. And then I stopped editing but carried on filming just because I was enjoying talking and having this creative outlet. And then I thought I would upload it, and then it just got on for so long that I never uploaded anything again on that Facebook group. But then I thought, well, maybe I can do this. I seem to have continued this. Maybe I can do it in a YouTube space. And I did. And it has been so delightful. I have definitely kind of met so many people that I didn't think I would. From starting my channel, I have found so many other channels that I didn't know of. I've been lucky enough to be involved in buddy reads. I've got really involved in readathons. I have been lucky enough to come on some live shows and things, and all of that has been so lovely. It's just been such a fun time. So thanks everyone for sticking around. And cheers to everyone else who is also celebrating a Booktube birthday. And if you are someone who is watching going, do you know what, I think I would like to do it, but I'm not sure, chat to people, talk to people, ask questions. Whether you are someone that just wants to talk in the comments, you can send me an email, or I highly recommend MJ's Discord for people who are wanting to kind of like start out. She is the champion of small booktubers. There's a really nice supportive community on there for people who are wanting to kind of dip their toe in the water and see if it's for them. There's so many different ways that you can booktube. You don't have to do the way other people do it. You can absolutely make it work for you. So give it a whirl if you feel like you want to. If you are viewers and just enjoy watching all the bookish content, amazing, carry on. We love you. We really appreciate you being here, and just spurring, just sharing all the bookish joy. The community of book lovering is just so delightful. I love being a part of it. So thank you. Okay, I have 28 questions to go through. I've mixed it up, so we've got a few bookishy ones, a few content ones, a few general life questions. So it's a bit of variety as we go through. And I will link all the booktubers that asked me questions in the description box, so you can go and check them out as well and get to know them. Okay, let's move on to the first question. So the first question was from MJ at Reading This Live, who I've already mentioned. She says, what is an automatic by author? So I have to give this a bit of thought, because for me, an auto by author, it's not just an author where I've liked one of their books. I have to have liked more than one of their books. So there's definitely authors that I love, but they might not be an auto by. And also there are authors that I've loved, but they don't always write books that I'm interested in. So for example, Catherine Arden, I've got the Winter Night trilogy here. I love the Winter Night trilogy. It is amazing. It's some absolutely pure, gorgeously written, historically researched folktale fantasy. She also wrote a middle grade series, and you'd think middle grade, I'd be well into that, but it's a horror middle grade series. I do want to try it, but it is not auto buy on any way, shape or form. I have auto bought her next adult book, but it's a very different vibe. It is it's a World War I story, I think. It's called The Warm Hands of Ghosts, I think. So I will see how I find that. But because of the different variety she writes, it's not auto buy. Who is auto buy? Let me tell you. Zencho is auto buy for me. I've read, apart from the short story collection, which I need to get hold of, I've read everything she's written. So the first book of hers I did was The Sorcerer to the Crown, which is like Regency fairy tale London, and I just loved her protagonist in this. It has got very like Regency language, but I loved it. So much so that cheeky book haul sneak peek here, I've got the hard copy. I had the paperback and I saw the hard copy on World of Books, hardback copy on World of Books, and I was like, I think I need to rescue this book and bring it to a house where it's going to be loved. But I have also read her novella, which has a very slightly different style, but it's still got her wit, her humour. I love the way she writes. And again, her other novel, Blackwater Sister, very different vibe to Sorcerer to the Crown, but I loved it. So Zencho is absolutely auto by author. Please write more, Zencho. I'm still waiting. I would love more. Another auto by author for me is Jen Lyons. She is a epic fantasy author. I'm holding up the third book from her 5-book series, The Chorus of Dragons. This is The Memory of Souls. It's my favourite one. This series I wasn't sure of when I started reading, but the more I read it, the more I loved it. And then I went back and reread and absolutely adored it. And what I love is I love her characters, I love the world building, and I love world building, blah, blah, blah. And I love the plotting. Her plotting is fantastic. The way she starts off, pulls all these threads together and manages to tie it all off was insane. It was incredible. It's the characters that have my heart in this, and just the way she writes her voice, the snark that goes on in here, the sarcasm. I love her like the tools, the story structure she uses as well, where you have got two for different stories kind of going on at the same time, different timelines also being recorded with footnotes, and just all of this kind of comes into play, and it's like an inside joke about these tales being written down. And there is just, it kind of comes to light in the, I think it's the fourth book, where suddenly people have been passing around these books of like this character's life. It's like, hold on, what is this? Who's been who's been who's been writing down my life? Chronicling, I think, is what I'm trying to say. Who's been chronicling my life? And then everyone's read this book and everyone knows all these secrets. It's hilarious. Love Sencho. Cannot wait for her new book, which is coming out in July, which I will be buddy reading with Bridget, and I cannot wait. And a middle grade. I had to have a middle grade on here. There have been a lot of books that I've absolutely loved, but I think I need to read more from them just to confirm that they are auto-buy. But here I have Jamie Littler's Frost Heart series, and it is a completed trilogy. And again, we have amazing characters. We have fantastic world building, and we have a storyline that goes through everything and rounds it all up and pulls it all together neatly. So for it to be an auto-buy author, I need to know that they can end a series well. That's really important for me, much more so than the beginning. I need the ending to work, and this is gorgeous. So gorgeous. Question 2 should be less waffly. This comes from Tiffany at Towering TBR, and Tiffany says, what is your least favourite food? I'm going with beetroot. It tastes like earth, and that's not nice. Don't like beetroot. I'm insulted that it is purple, because it's a much too nicer colour to be wasted on such a foul tasting food, in my opinion. Apologies, beetroot lovers. And she also asks, so question 3 is, how many takes do you have to do for an average video? This is the first take for this one. I haven't needed to stop it, so that's exciting. The amount of takes I do it's the introduction. If I fluff the introduction, I redo it. So I'd say 2 is the average. The most fluffing I've done, I think was on a video where I was trying to be funny at the beginning part. So I think I was trying to be asleep. It was one of, it was Courtney from Tangible Reads' Bootcamp Readathon, and I was pretending to be asleep and then waking up, and I had so many different things that I was switching and just using pause, that I screwed it up several times. I think that one could have been like 5 or 6, which was the longest one. I'd say I've usually got it within 4 on a bad one, but at 2, it tends to be the average. But if I get through the interview, it's late. If I get through the introduction, then we just roll, because I'm not redoing. Once I start talking about the books and start going, we just have to keep going, because we'll be here all day and I'll get annoyed. I usually do say when I'm on like the 3rd or 4th, that this is the 3rd or 4th take. So if I'm a little bit, that's why. Question 4. Question 4 is from Tallia from Bandana Book Bum, and it's, what is your favourite colour? My favourite colour is purple. Always has been for as long as I can remember, still is. I then have from Emily at Novel Novels. She asks, which 6 authors would you have for a dinner party? This is one that made me think quite a lot, because there's books I definitely like, but I don't necessarily know if that author would be fun to have at a dinner party. And also, I want my dinner guests to kind of get on. So like the mix is quite important. I have definitely overthought this one. Anyway, I have settled on these authors. So I'd say quite a common one. I'm going for a big hitter to start off with. Jane Austen. I would love Jane Austen to come for dinner. I think she'd be amazing company, because she will be very funny. From what we know of her, she is said to have been like highly entertaining, would make the family laugh. With her kind of, she would do like little performances and like poetry reading, and she has a lot of social commentary. So I think she would be an amazing dinner party guest. Another dinner guest I have is Eswanswa Jane Goldberg, who wrote the non-fiction The Space Between Black and White. And I want her to come because I read the audiobook and she narrated it. So from her narration, I got a real sense of who she is. And obviously she laid everything bare with her memoir, and her life is incredible. And I just want her to tell us more. Just carry on talking. I think she'd be so much fun. She seems like a really life of the party, enjoys the food. She's been to so many places and done so many things. She's a real activist. She's a feminist. She sounds like an amazing woman. So I think Eswanswa and Jane would get on pretty well and have some good chat. I would also like to invite Terry Pratchett. His work is, I think, speaks for itself. Just the range of characters that he has in there, and just the kind of reflection on our society. And every time you kind of see him in interviews, he just seems so warm and approachable, and I just think he'd be a great person to just talk to. I find his humour in his books, it just works so perfectly for me. So I think he'd be a great addition to the dinner party. We're going to have a great time. You're welcome to come. My fourth dinner guest would be Juno Dawson. So Juno Dawson I saw at Yalk. Video still coming for that one. I love Her Majesty's Royal Coven. It's so funny. She's also written quite a lot of non-fiction. I want to read Gender Games, which is sort of her memoir. But at Yalk, she was just, again, really witty. That kind of comes through in her books. She's kind of very dry, and I just thought the conversation she had with the other authors on her panel, like they were just bouncing off each other. I definitely sit her next to Jane Austen because I think they could definitely, I feel they would vibe very well. I had my final two ones I felt needed to complement those four. So the last one, two I chose Laura Ellen Anderson, author of the middle grade series Rainbow Grey and Amelia Fang. Because look at these work of art. I also have seen her on some like videos that of like talking about her books, and she just seems so adorable, so interesting, and I think I just love her. I just think I'd give her some paper and a pen and just get her to doodle and just like watch what she comes up with. And I just think her brain is amazing, and I think her and Terry Pratchett could have a lovely world building chat together. And my final author, again, because I've seen kind of a lot of her presence on YouTube, is Xiranjay Zhao. Again, I think they are another person I would describe, like Eswanswa, as like a bit of a firecracker. They're very passionate. They care a lot about causes and things, and I really love the work that they put out, the content that they put out. I loved watching them react to Milan and talking about the history of that. So I think they would make an amazing dinner guest as well. And I'd probably sit them next to Eswanswa, because I think, you know, between them, they're probably going to sort the world out. And I feel they would leave the dinner party and go and start some sort of revolution. So that's my dinner party. Thank you very much. That was a really fun question. Question 6 is from Kelli at Kelli Reads. Oh my goodness, your name's just gone out of my head. I think it's Kelli Reads. Apologies, Kelli. It's going to be in the description. Oh my goodness, I say about your channel all the time. Why is it just gone out of my head? Pretty sure it's Kelli Reads. My bad. Anyway, Kelli says, if I had a crazy Mad Hatter saying, what would it be? So I kind of have a couple that I say. They're kind of mainly like family things that we say, like in my family, like phrases. One's a dad joke. So if my kids are, you know, they want more food and they come up and they go, I'm hungry, I say, pleased to meet you, I'm mummy. That always makes me laugh a lot, and they hate it. And sometimes they now say, I'm hungry, don't do the joke. So that's my gift to them, to be embarrassing mum. And the other phrase that we have in my family that again amuses me Another dad joke, I do just love a pun. Puns I find highly entertaining. Is when someone says, put the kettle on, and we generally respond with, it won't fit, or it'll suit you. So there we go. They're my Mad Hatter sayings. So next question is from Courtney at Tangible Reads. I have also mentioned her channel already. She says, how many middle grade books do you own? And I've just realised I have counted, I know how many are under my bed. I've counted the ones upstairs. Haven't actually counted the ones that are downstairs, so hold on one moment. Okay, so just counted the ones downstairs. So I have, where have I written it? I've got 78 downstairs. No, I've got 78 out. I've got 26 under my bed. So I've at the 104, if my calculations are correct, middle grade books that I own. So there you go, Courtney. That's how many middle grade I have. I've no idea how many I have read out of those. That would be a completely different question. Okay, question 8 is from Matt at Bask in the Story, and he asks, what is your go-to tea? Well, I'm glad you asked because I'm currently drinking a tea. My go-to tea is PG Tips. I just need a regular brew, is my preferred tea, but I do have tea for other occasions. So I also like to, I have a tea cupboard, and I like to have my tea in different tins. It's a work in progress. I have many just random boxes in there as well, but if I see a little tin and I can link it to a tea, that works really well. So this is a little tin that has got lots of different types of teapots and teaspoons all over it. So it looks quite fancy. So I put my Earl Grey in this one because I think Earl Grey is a fancy tea. And I like an Earl Grey when I want to just kind of like sit and relax. I can't drink an Earl Grey first thing in the morning. I can't drink an Earl Grey if the children are running around. It's not the right tea for that moment. I also have this lovely little tin with seagulls, the seaside, and deck chairs on it. So for this one, I feel it's quite like sea air. It's quite cleansing. It's quite refreshing. So I have fennel tea in this little tin. So when I'm feeling a little bit bloated, I like to have a fennel tea, and it just makes me feel cleansed and kind of cleaner. It's just nice. When I'm feeling poorly, I love lemon, honey, and ginger. And recently I've been really enjoying, I don't have the tea bags in, but when I'm out, I really like to have a chai tea. I've been really enjoying that recently. So guys, my tea preferences. There was one though, I went to, they don't have this place anymore, but there was this lovely little place in Brighton in the lanes, where you had, it looked like a big like coffee canister, but they'd have these like different, they'd make up these different teas, and they'd sit it on top of your, you'd let it brew, and then when it had done, you put it on top of your cup and you like click it on, and then the tea would like plunge into your cup. That was brilliant. It was a really cool little place, and I really loved, I can't remember what else is in it, but it was rose, which I wouldn't usually like because I feel that would be too like fragranty. It was so tasty, and I've no idea what that was, and I don't think I'll have that moment again. I've gone off on tangents. Okay, question number 9 is from Aaron the Reader, and Aaron asks, what author or series got you into reading as a kid? So as a kid, I really enjoyed reading the Enid Blyton books. I particularly enjoyed the Five Find Outers, sometimes known as the Fatty books, where you have these 5 children that solve mysteries. You have the policeman, Mr. Goon. I also enjoyed the adventure series. You have like the Island of Adventure, the Sea of Adventure, and the Magic Faraway Tree. I really enjoyed all of those, but I read everything. I read her school stories, I read her circus stories, I read her farm stories. She has farm stories. I read all of it. I also really enjoyed Dick King-Smith as well. Everyone knows him most for Babe the Sheep Pig, but he wrote a couple of stories that I really enjoyed. There was Find the White Horse, where these pets were trying to return home to these lovely old ladies, and The Stray, which was about another old lady that just goes off on a train and then this family kind of end up adopting her. So I really enjoyed those. As a child, those are the first ones that I can remember reading. If anyone's interested, I do have my childhood reading tag that I did with my mum. So I have the tag where I talk through all the questions, and then I have 2 videos of utter chaos where mum and I get really in depth about books of our childhood and kind of what shaped our reading. So I will link that there as well, should you want to watch it. Question number 10 is again another question from Tiffany, and she asks, what are your favourite things about your city? So I live in Brighton. I think favourite thing about my city is that it's by the sea. If I peer out of the correct part of the window, I can see the sea just from my bedroom. But when I walk at my house and I kind of walk down to sort of like the local high street, to the library, to my kids' school, we walk down the hill and you can see the sea on the horizon, and it's amazing. You can easily walk to the seafront from my house, which is nice. It's like about a 30-40 minute walk depending how fast you walk. You can also walk to the downs as well, so we can go on these really nice walks kind of like up away from the city, and you just get this amazing view, lots of hills. But I really like that you kind of have the benefits of like the city life, but you also have the small town kind of vibes as well. So I enjoy all of that. So you can still bump into people that you know in the city centre, but there's still a lot going on. There's lots of festivals, there's lots of shops, and there's lots of like really cool, unique little places. And generally, in theory, it's quite an inclusive town. Like, people do not bat an eye in general and in theory about the way people dress, about kind of different things that people do. It just tends to be kind of more accepting, again in theory, because there's always the exception to the rule, but those are the things I really enjoy about my city. Question 11 is what are your bookish pet peeves? So this was also from Tiffany. So one of my biggest ones, I'm going to use one of my husband's books to demonstrate, because I don't want to do it to my books, so it makes me feel sad, is when people like mark their page in a book. They do that and just leave the book lying open, and it makes me cringe. It makes me cringe and feel really uncomfortable, and I sometimes I have been known to have just like found something to put in the pages and then just shut the book on it to make myself feel a bit better. Not everywhere, because it is a little bit rude of how some people want to treat their books, but that is one of my bookish pet peeves. I have some more. I have like, again, like stickers on books, whether that's, you know, you can't actually take it off, it's like a printed sticker, and also like other stickers, because sometimes when you take them off, like my lovely Zencho is sticky because there was a sticker in it and it's all sticky, so I need to try and clean that off. So that's really annoying, because you try and peel the sticker off and then you leave sticker residue, and it's like, just stop destroying the beauty of the front cover with random stickers. Like, you know, someone's worked hard on this design. On this one, Sierra Elliott, you know, worked hard on the design, and you've just ruined it by sticking a sticker over it. It's just rude. Another bookish pet peeve is when they change the design of the series halfway through. So you've got 3 books that look one way, and then 2 books or whatever many that look a different way because they've decided to go with a different design. Why? It's really annoying. It's not helpful. As a book collector, I don't like it. My other bookish pet peeve is I don't like paperbacks that come out more than a year after the hardback. It's a bit harsh on people that enjoy a paperback to make them wait that long to come out. I mean, I will accept a year, but more than a year is just rude. Ideally 6 months, so that everyone gets to enjoy the story. I know in this day and age you have your ebooks and you have your audio, but some people like to have a paperback, 1 because it's cheaper, and 2 because it's kind of easier to hold. I mean, personally, I do love a hardback, but they do take up more room on the shelf. So yeah, could the paperbacks, you know, don't make us wait for more than a year before you release the paperbacks. Okay, question 12. So this kind of ties in with question 13 as well, if I can find it. Oh, we're on the back. There we go. So this was from Jaleesa and also from MJ. So Jaleesa asks, can you name 3 to 5 book titles that live in your head rent free? No hesitation, recommends only. And MJ says, what is a recent book that stays in your brain? So because I've kind of combined the question because it kind of applies to both of them, because the books that are currently living in my head rent free are more recent ones that I've read, and they are ones that I would recommend to everyone. So I have A Kind of Spark by Elle McNichol, which is a middle grade contemporary story. Elle McNichol is an autistic author, and the main protagonist in here, Addie, has autism, and I just think this is an absolutely beautiful story about friendship and family and what it's like to be autistic, and Addie's kind of goal to be kind of vindicating these women that were accused of witchcraft just because they were different back in her historic school project. So it was just a beautiful book. There was so much heart in it. I think it would do everyone the world of good to read it. On a similar vein, I have Jamie by L.D. Lipinski, also a middle grade contemporary, but this time exploring the theme of what it's like to be non-binary, and the 2 secondary schools that Jamie has to choose between is a boys' school or a girls' school. So this whole concept of separating children based on gender just seems a bit ridiculous. So Jamie kind of coming to the forefront and having to say, you know, where do I go? There's no place for the non-binary child. And also just making people more aware of what it's like to be non-binary and sort of the difficulties that people who are non-binary have to deal with on a regular basis. And it also looks at friendship and family, and how family members might be sort of like struggling with having a child who's non-binary, and sort of, you know, wanting to support them, but sort of like still not understanding how. And it's just a brilliantly done book. I then have a load of non-fiction books. So quite a lot of the non-fiction I've read has been on subject areas that I've really been interested in and that have moved me. So one of those is Know My Name by Chanel Miller. She is an amazing person. Her writing is absolutely gorgeous. She really detailedly and talks you through kind of the court procedure of prosecuting someone for a rape case. She is a rape survivor, and the victim being treated worse almost than the accused in some of these cases, and how it drags on and how it affects not only her life but her family's life, and kind of like what it was like. It was just such a powerful book, and so beautifully told as well. Like, that one absolutely will always be in my head. And recent books that have definitely stayed in my brain as well is I'm Afraid of Men by Vivek Shaira. So this is a very small book that kind of explores gender and kind of how society views gender, and kind of like questions how we view gender. It was just really, again, a really kind of interesting book, really, really well written, and another book that I think everyone should benefit from reading. And finally, Uncomfortable Labels by Laura Kate Dale, My Life as a Gay Autistic Trans Woman. So this is kind of exploring what it's like to be autistic, and also what it's like to be trans, and how both of these things individually are difficult in a cisgendered, able-bodied society that is neurotypical, having to kind of explain yourself to people all the time, and how both of these can kind of sometimes, her needs can sometimes conflict with each other, and how she's trying to kind of appease society's view of what she should be presenting like. It was really fascinating to read, and again, I think another book that we would all benefit from reading. So there we go. Question number 14 is another one from Emily. What is your favourite chocolate? So my favourite chocolate, if I'm being basic, is a Cadbury's Whisper. If I'm just going into a store, that's possibly what I would generally gravitate towards. I do like a variety, but yeah, love a Whisper. It's like really nice and thick. For those who don't know, Cadbury's chocolate is a lot more milky, and the Whisper is, I'd say about, it's quite thick. I'd say like your first from your like fingertip to your knuckle in thickness, and so it's got a layer of chocolate all the way around it, and inside it's like bubbly chocolate, so it's like lots of air bubbles, so it's sort of like lighter and crumbly, and I just find them really tasty. I also love anything by Tony Chocolonely. I think their chocolate is brilliant. I love the message they give. I love how it's like broken into different pieces. It's also really kind of like, it's got such a lovely dense chocolatey flavour, and it comes in all sorts of varieties. My favourite one is probably the ones with nut in it in some form, like the milk chocolate with the nut, I think is probably my favourite. I also love a Malteser. I think they're great. And one of my favourite things to do with chocolate is at Easter time, I love to have a whole Easter egg. I think there's something just so nice about just eating a massive piece of chocolate. And what I like to do is I like to have half of the egg, so it's like a chocolate cup. I like to pour warm milk into it and drink the warm milk, and then it'll just be a little bit melty, and you'll just enjoy it that way. But generally, I also like to keep chocolate in the fridge because I think it tastes really nice when you bite into it. There we go, there's my chocolate story. Okay. Next question is from, question 15 is what we're on. And this is from Erin again. What is my favourite film? So, I can never pick one. I would say that I really enjoy the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I really enjoyed those. I was a massive Lord of the Rings fan when they were coming out. I got the extended edition DVDs and watched all of those. I then watched the whole film with the commentary of the cast on because I really enjoyed hearing about the antics they got up to. I watched all of the extra bits, loved it. More recently, I really enjoyed the film Pride, which is about the mining strike in the 80s in Britain, and there's a Welsh mining village where some LGBTQ plus members go and support them, and then and it's just like how these two different communities kind of get to know each other and kind of support each other in activism, and I just think it's a really lovely story, and true. And also children's films. I really enjoy Encanto. I love Encanto. I love the message of it. I love the music. I love the appreciating everyone's different gifts in it and the family. It's just great. Tiffany asks, which fantasy land from a book would you want to visit with the dangers and all? So Lord of the Rings will be out because as much as I enjoy the Shire and want to go to Rivendell, do not want to deal with Mordor or orcs at all. Thank you very much. As a child, I probably would have gone for Narnia. That was one of my favourites, the concept of the portal fantasy. And every time I see a lamppost, I think Narnia. Sorry, need some tea. But now, of all the fantasy books I've read, the fantasy land I would most like to go to is Nevermore. So this is from the book Nevermore by Jessica Townsend in the Nevermore series. There is, I suppose there's a certain edge of danger in the land, but generally there's so much fun in here. There's so much magic, there's so much wonder. Even if you are not someone that would have any kind of magical abilities, the whole place is just delightful. I want to go to the hotel. I want to meet Jupiter. I want to meet Fenrir the Wonder Cat. Don't know if she's called the Magnificat. Don't know if I'd want to do the brolly rail, that might scare me, but I'd love to do the train with the cozy compartment, and I'd love to go to all the little different places in here, and I'd love to celebrate Christmas in here, or the Winter Festival or whatever they call it, but yeah, that's what I would choose. Question number 17, again from Tiffany, is have I ever won anything, and if so, what? So nothing major. At the age of 10, in a school sports day, I won a chariot race because we did like an Olympic Games kind of vibe to our sports day, and so I, as the older child in the pairing, put the younger child in a wheelbarrow, put a colander on my head, gave the younger child, I had to run and get a piece of wood as the spear and a tea tray as the shield, and then pushed them to the finish line, and we won. So I was quite proud of that one. I won a netball tournament of 3 schools when I was 11. I was goal defence. I was very much enjoying the defensive thing, didn't want to shoot, didn't want the pressure of shooting, but I was very happy to stop other people from shooting. and mainly kind of like chocolate in a raffle. So raffles at church I've sometimes won. But board games is probably my most recent winning. I was the champion of Ticket to Ride. I had never lost Ticket to Ride until we played it again recently, and my husband beat me. And then he beat me again, and I don't understand the world anymore, and I'm having to rethink my Ticket to Ride strategies because they're currently not working. Number 18, Tallia asks, what's your favourite animal? So I have to say at the moment my favourite animal is a guinea pig, because we recently have got some guinea pig pets. So we have a brown crested guinea pig called Grover, and he is the alpha piggy in the herd. And we have a white Himalayan guinea pig called Nacho, and he's the explorer. So if there's anything happening, he will be the first one out to go and have a little look, and then Grover will make little noises from inside wherever he's hiding to tell Nacho it could be dangerous. It's like and whenever they hear the fridge opening and us chopping vegetables around sort of 6 o'clock-ish time, they're like, where are our veggies, and start weeking for their veggies. It's really cute. So yeah, enjoying our guinea pigs at the moment. That's the end of that page. We're on question number 19 now. So this is a question again from Matt, who asks, what is a book you are excited to read but haven't yet? If you've been on my channel for a while, and if you've watched a lot of my videos, I wonder if you can guess. Let me know in the comments what you think the book I'm excited to read but haven't read yet is. I feel a lot of shame about this. It is Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 4th book in the Stormlight Archive. I have never read it. I basically, before I was fully on, I was watching a little bit of Booktube. I was starting to discover Booktube, but my brother had got me onto Brandon Sanderson. And I started reading the Stormlight books. I borrowed all of his Stormlight books. And I may have then started buying them for myself. I can't quite remember. But I was buying the Stormlight books, reading the Stormlight books like back to back, from Way of Kins to Oathbringer. And then I could not wait for Rhythm of War to come out. But Rhythm of War comes out in a hardback to start off with. This is my pet peeve. And they are so massive. If I have a book that I'm really invested in, I need to be able to carry it around with me, and just, even if I don't have time to read it, it's just a comfort read. I just like to know it's there. So, you know, it's much easier to carry around a paperback, and I don't mind if the paperback kind of gets a little bit battered, but my hardbacks, I'd rather they didn't get battered, thank you. So I want to read it in a paperback. I could borrow it from the library, but again, there's something special about the first time you've read a book. Like with Zencho, I'm never going to get rid of my paperback or Sorcerer to the Crown, because that's when I first read it. So I've kind of got a nostalgic emotional connection with this book, even though I have also a beautiful hardback copy. So it's the same with the Stormlight Archives, because they are one of my favourite fantasy series. But then I wanted to reread them so I could really enjoy Rhythm of War. And I screwed up my reread. I stopped rereading Oathbringer because I got distracted by readathons. I am still hoping to reread Oathbringer this month. I have yet to pick it up, but I'm hoping to, and then I can pick up Rhythm of War, and it will happen. I feel it's time. It really is its time, and I really should stop procrastinating on it and just get on and do it. But I want to have the best experience because I've waited for so long. Question 20. Kelly asks, what is the first book I remember blowing my mind? Well, obviously I loved a lot of books, but I think the first book I recall that blew my mind was Inkheart by Cornelia Funke. So I just loved in this book, one, I don't think I'd come across a book where the characters loved books so much, and you just got such a sense of joy and delight and respect for the books in here. And then you've just got this magical sense of the story and the story coming to life and just using your voice, and your voice has a power. And also the stakes in this were really high. I felt I was quite terrified at certain points in here. And also I just love the cover. I love the cover. It's this old looking book, so it's like a red leather with like gold like corners and spine, and then it's got this cutout in the middle where you can see this kind of magical world, and certain things are kind of coming out. So you've got a lizard escaping, you've got coins falling down the side, you've got a blue fairy kind of shimmering off, and then the creepiest bit that I also love is this hand just sort of gripping the side of the book, ready to lever itself out. So yeah, loved Ink Heart. It's still one of my favorites. But as an adult, the book that blew my mind was The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. So I had just been rereading a lot of my books. I hadn't really been reading new books until my brother said, "You should read this," and gave me The Final Empire to read. Not this copy, I borrowed his copy. This is a very pretty copy that my mum bought me for my birthday. And I had just not come across a magic system like it. I hadn't read an adult epic fantasy since I read Lord of the Rings. Terry Pratchett is not epic. It's high fantasy, it's well imagined, but it's not the same kind of like really big stakes and piles of lore behind it. Just the world building was amazing, the threat was great, the found family, I just loved it. I was absolutely hooked. And now we're on question 21. Tiffany says, do you follow authors on social media? Now originally I said no, I don't think I do, but I realised I do actually follow Zero and Jay Zhao, because I think they are really fascinating and they have a great online presence. I did do a little bit of social media stalking though, because I was curious about Laura Ellen Anderson and Jamie Littler. I was like, are they like together? I was like, I think they could be. And I did a little bit of like searching on the Twitter page. I was like, yeah, they're living together. Yeah, they're there. And that made me really happy. I was like, they're both really cute authors that I love, and they're like in a relationship. It's really cute. But other than that, no. So just Zero and Jay Zhao I'm following. Emily also asks, what is your favourite ever book? And there's another question that I am linking to this one, because it's another question that Aaron asked. So I think this is going to give you a big clue. Aaron asks, which trilogy in the realm of the Elderlings is your favourite? So yes, one of the Robin Hobb books is my favourite ever book. So I'm just going to show you my Hobb collection now, because I think we need to go on a little journey. Here we go. Here is my Hobb shelf. I love the Realm of the Elderlings series. They're amazing. So there's my Farseer trilogy, the Live Ship Traders trilogy. We have the Tawny Man trilogy here, the Rainwild Chronicles, and the Fitz and the Fool. So out of these, for the emotional payoff that we get, my favourite is the Tawny Man trilogy. And my favourite ever book is Fool's Fate, because the emotional payoff in this book was just incredible. It just blew my mind. I cannot begin to describe how much I love this book. That is my favourite book of all time, because of how incredibly the story pulls together and how these characters that you've just been following for such a long time, it's just amazing. But it's not one that I would recommend to everyone, because unless you enjoy epic fantasy and unless you get on with the character Fitz, you're not going to have a fun time. So it's not going to be for everyone, but it's definitely the book for me. Question 25 is another one from Tiffany, is what's my favourite non-fiction? So I've already spoken about quite a lot of non-fiction and it's always hard to choose a favourite. So I'm going to pick sort of like two special ones that I haven't spoken about before. So the first one is special because it's kind of the first non-fiction that I really got invested in, and I didn't really see myself as a non-fiction reader. And this is why I'm no longer talking about to white people about race by Readathon Lodge. So it's not too thick a book, and I just found this really easy to read. Like, it was, again, her narrative voice was really compelling. I was so interested in what she had to say. So actually this came from a newspaper article that I was finding on social media when the murder of George Floyd happened, and there was kind of a lot more, there was a bigger rise from people who weren't always aware of the difficulties of what it's like to live in this world and be black. So there was a big rise in the Black Lives Matter movement, and I saw this article, and then I saw there was a book that kind of came out from it, and I was like, I really need to read that, because one, I need educating, and two, I love what she's written in this article. And this book was brilliant. It's definitely one that I want to reread. I haven't read it for, I think I read it in 2020, so I definitely want to reread this soon. And the other one I have is just beautiful. It's a memoir, and it is Genderqueer by Maya Khabib. This is just so beautiful. The artwork in this is amazing, and the story is so heartfelt. Like, there's a lot of amazing queer representation in here, and kind of important discussions, and the emotion that is kind of shown through the pictures is just pure art. I love it. It's such an amazing book, and I think it is getting a lot more playtime, because it has that interesting position of being one of the most widely challenged books in America, because it's an LGBTQ plus book. So of course, you know, many people will be out trying to save the children because of that one. Okay, where are all these book piles going? Right. So Tallia from Bandana Book Mum also asks, what is your favourite food? So I do love a lot of food. I'm going to go with like a comfort food. So my comfort food is cheese on crumpets. So I love crumpet. You need butter, and then either Marmite, a little tiny smear of Marmite, just to give that kind of nice salty taste, a little bit of zing, and then the bubbly cheese, so where it's like under the grill and it's like it's all melted but it sort of bubbles up, and then maybe some of the top of the cheese bubbles go a little bit orange and crispy. That's amazing. The other option instead of Marmite is jam, also very tasty. That's my comfort food. But I do enjoy, if I'm going out for a meal, I love tapas. Love exploring all the different little dishes, so you get lots of them all at once. That's always nice. So you're always like a patatas bravas and some chorizo and some olives and some fish. Nom 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 nom. And a more healthy option I've really enjoyed recently, like a baked sweet potato, but then you scoop out, once you've like cooked it, you scoop out the sweet potato, you mix it with spring onion, red pepper, tuna, and cheese, and like to mix it to make the tuna sort of more fluffy. It does say sour cream in the recipe, but I have used natural yogurt, and that was absolutely fine. So you mix it all up together, you put it back in the potato skin, sprinkle a little bit of cheese on top, and put it back in the oven. So nice, so nice. Okay, question 27. It's the penultimate question. It's a tricky one, and it's from Matt, and he asks, Ezekiel or Crowley? So this is from Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, and the characters Ezekiel and Crowley are awesome. So here we have Ezekiel, the angel, and Crowley, the demon. So what's amazing about Ezekiel and Crowley is just their relationship. It's just so fun. These two completely different characters, this friendship, this different way of working. I love it. And the TV show has just absolutely kind of gone with that being the heart of the book, and I've just taken it, and it's delightful. But if I have to pick one, if I have to go and be friends with one of them, it's gotta be Ezekiel. Ezekiel is a book bookshop owner. Azathiel wants to go out for tea. Azathiel likes to go out for a nice meal. So I'd love to go for tea in Azathiel's bookshop. Hanging out with Crowley, he'd probably take you to like a really rowdy bar to drink beer on the back of his motorbike that would go really, no, not a motorbike, car. He does also have a motorbike at some point, but his car, and drive really, really fast. And I think that would just freak me out a little bit. So it's Azathiel. And my final question is from Tiffany at Towering TBR, and she wants to know, what is my favourite video that I've made? I love making videos, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't still be here. I love doing all your basics where you talk about what you've read, excited about books you want to read, all of that stuff. But my favourite ones are all the ones I've made with my mum, Nata. So I've already mentioned, like, we did books of our childhood. I think the early bird tag, that is what I called it, about how we got into reading, what are our first memories of books, and we kind of went through all of that. We did so much setup for that video. We were filming it at like 2 o'clock in the morning because it took us such a long time to do. There were so many books. We had piles of books all over the place. We had gone through everything. We'd gathered everything. We both like to talk, so it took forever. So we filmed it all, but I did it in 2 videos because it was so long. But I also just love playing silly games with her, like when we did the first sentence challenge. I will link that here if you're interested, where you had to guess what book it is. For the first sentence, you got the most points, second sentence, third sentence, and we're both quite competitive with each other. And that was just hilarious as well. It was just so much fun just hanging out with my mum and chatting about books. So there we go. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. I definitely have enjoyed chatting to all of you. So cheers, everyone. Happy reading. Please feel free to get chatty in the comments. You know I love a chat. If you have anything you want to say or ask or comment on, let me know. Please let me know what your answers would be to any of these questions. I'd love to hear. And I just hope that you have a lovely day and read something nice.